was perfect. And I have to tell you, that first song, You Have to Wake Up Every Morning with a Smile on Your Face, got me through a really tough time in my youth, right after a really unexpected and unhappy divorce, living alone in Washington, D.C., having a hard time building a support group, and listening literally with my vinyl to that almost constantly for a while. Really, literally got me through. So it just was so much fun hearing it, singing it. Believe me, I'll never forget the words. So it was great. And this one, perfect. I don't know, I couldn't have asked for more perfect music. I rarely request music because I find Spirit just picks the music and it's always perfect. So no matter what. So I am so happy to be here today. It's been kind of a process getting here. Jeanette has invited me so many times and I kept saying, don't stop asking. For one reason or another, I haven't been able to do it. And then the pandemic came along, we were all doing Zoom and I did a lot of that, but still for some reason, we just didn't connect. So it feels like, wow, I'm here and it's worth it. It's worth it. So we're talking today about the magic of mindfulness. So how many of you know what monkey mind is? Oh my gosh. How many of you think you have monkey mind? How many of you have super monkey mind? I'm telling you, I definitely have super monkey mind. I have a mind that literally, I swear, it took me a long time to realize that it never stops. And so this causes complications for me in my life. One of them is not being able to stop talking. So in instances like this, that's a good thing, right? Being able to talk. But in life, with friends, not always the best. Long stories, very long stories, processing out loud. People tend to get bored and frustrated, guessing what the person's going to say and answering them before they finish and all of those things. I literally lost a really good friend in my youth for that very reason, because I just never let her talk. Now, the best thing is when you have a friend just like you, who thinks really fast and talks all the time and you can just keep talking. You never stop. And I have a couple of those, but it's not good for me because then I fall right back into the habit. So anyway, that monkey mind thing, it is, you know, lest you think I don't care about this, really, I do. I've worked on this for years, and though I am somewhat better at this, I still catch myself doing it, especially the longer I know somebody and the better I know them, the more likely I am to do it. And then I find myself apologizing and beating myself up, which is also not good. So monkey mind, unfortunately, also plays a big part in my meditation practice. And that's the most recent version of monkey mind that I have noticed, because I've been working on mindfulness for a while now, for a couple of years. I've been in meditation practice, working on it for several years. And when I first started, literally could not stay in there in quiet, in silence for more than about 3 minutes. Because unfortunately, meditation stirs up my creative juices, and the minute those thoughts hit, I want to go do it. You know, I mean, I literally want to get up, and did. I would get up and go do whatever thing I thought of, which I know is not all bad. So that I really didn't beat myself up, but I really wanted to stay in that place longer. So that's why I started working on mindfulness. It's been a journey. It's constant, because your mind, pardon the expression, has a mind of its own. And it wants to be a mind, and it wants to think, and it wants to do its thing, and your ego's all in there, and it just wants to have its say. So the key is learning how to deal with and accept that your mind is going to think. It's just going to. But you don't have to engage all those thoughts. So that's what mindfulness is all about. And monkey mind is a Buddhist term originally. And listen to what it means. Listen to this list of words. Unsettled, restless, capricious, whimsical, fanciful, inconstant, confused, indecisive, uncontrollable. What a nice group of adjectives. No wonder. No wonder. It's a challenge. The researchers at Cleveland University have said that we process about 70,000 thoughts per day. And I believe that, actually. Some groups, some people place it at a lower level. It can go anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000, maybe down there in that lower range. But regardless, that's a lot of thoughts. It's a lot of thoughts. No wonder when we're trying to go inward and be in that silent place with this mind that we were given, we were born with this creative imagination. It's a gift. And it wants to do its thing. So when we try to get in a quiet place, it's no wonder with all those thoughts bumping around that we need a process to work with it. Not to tamp it down or make it go away or make it stop or ignore it completely, but just a process. So that's what mindfulness is about. And during the pandemic, I feel like I say that all the time now. Do you say that all the time? I say that all the time just because it was a really interesting time for me. I have worked from my home office for many years, most of my career. I mean, there have been times like when I was the worship coordinator at Unity Phoenix and some other things, I was marketing director in a few hospitals. But there were times in my career that I was out in the corporate world or in the world with people working beside me every day. But most of the time I've been in my home office working alone, best boss I ever had, and enjoying it. I like a lot of private time. So you would think that the whole idea of everybody going in and isolating wasn't like such a big deal to me, but honestly, it was different. I couldn't just go out and see somebody anytime I wanted. I couldn't go to my favorite restaurant anytime I wanted. There were a lot of things you and I and everybody else pretty much in the world couldn't do. And we lost freedom. We lost some freedom there. And even if we had not believed we needed to isolate, which some people didn't, I actually did. I had a couple of physical things going on at the time, which, praise God, are over now. But I was quite careful with my physical being. So I felt it was important to isolate for me. So even if you didn't think that, there was kind of no place for you to go. You know, and if you did, you probably got chastised big time for it. So it was a rough time. It was interesting though to me. And about halfway through the experience, I started to notice something I thought to be new to me. And that was, you know, now I realize there was a lack of, it had been there, maybe not at this level, but it had been there, but with just a lack of awareness on my part because of circumstances. So I started to realize with this new self-focus that something about my day-to-day activities it just hit me in the face. I started to notice how often I was interrupting my own activity, unfinished, to go do a different activity. So I started to question, am I ADHD? Because when I was a kid, they didn't even know what that was, and I've always been this way, and they didn't diagnose that. And it felt a lot like what I believe that to be, okay, that kind of needing to go do all the things you think of. But I'd never done that before that I know of. But I realized later that one of the reasons was that I lived in a world that was really busy and productive and fun. And I did a lot of things and I was working really hard. And now in this new, less busy environment, just because of the circumstances, I was kind of responding in a different way. And I'd literally come back in a room and find doors, cupboard doors and drawers open and things lying around that I had finished, sometimes 2 or 3 at a time, 2 or 3 projects at a time. And I actually went to this place that I don't usually go, and it was, oh my gosh, am I really finally getting old? And, you know, and then I refused to go there because I always do, because I don't relate to that. So I thought, no, I really want to pay attention and see how this is happening. What's happening here? And so when I started paying attention to whenever I would do that, I'd go, okay, what was happening when I left that project? And every single time I had been distracted by something that was bothering me. Some loop that I was going, I mean, really with my monkey mind, the loops are big and fast and lots of them. Some loops are a combination of loops that were going around in my mind, and I just led me to another thought of something to do, and I went and did it. And then, because in my meditation, I was working on mindfulness, mindfulness popped into my head and said, that's what this is. It's a lack of mindfulness. You're not paying attention to the very moment you're in. So I realized that if I decided to take this up as a cause, my monkey mind was going to have a heyday. And sure enough, it became a challenge, but not undoable. And I'm still in the process. I still catch myself, hardly ever. I still catch myself doing it now, but that's the point, right? I mean, I catch myself, I know, and I can pinpoint exactly where I got off track and how I got back on. And so mindfulness is really helpful in this situation. So before I take you on this little mindfulness trip, I want to talk a little more about what is mindfulness exactly. You know, you used to never hear a lot about mindfulness, but really the whole meditation process is about mindfulness. But once you get in there and really start homing in on your meditation practice, it comes right down to mindfulness. And so now we hear about it a lot because it's become a therapeutic treatment. So now we can talk about it more, right? But it was there all the time for thousands and thousands of years. It's been there and it's been working. So mindfulness is about experiencing, living, and being in the present moment. That's a big statement, the present moment, because listen, a moment is just a moment. It's only a moment, you guys, and it changes. Okay, I'm in a moment. I'm in a moment. I'm in a moment. You are constantly changing moments, right? So it takes a little bit of work to get used to being in a moment. You know, just about the time you think, got it, it's another moment. So it's experiencing, living, and being in the present moment. Whatever is happening and whatever you're doing. So that means whatever's happening on the outside in this crazy, mixed up, insane world, or whatever's going on the inside, or whatever you're physically doing. It's what's happening in that moment. It's about focus and paying attention and tuning into your senses. Very important for living in the moment, to pay attention to your senses. That's what they're there for. Bet you never thought of that. It's about acceptance, non-resistance, and non-judgment. Okay, that's all of our principles right there, right? Every principle we've ever learned in Unity or anywhere in life, mindfulness has it. It's about stepping right into the flow of life, as Bennett would say. That's what it's about. It's also about letting go and release, not engaging in regrets about the past or worries about the future. Neither one of those are real. You get that, right? The past is gone. You cannot, no matter what you think you can do, we really have not learned time travel yet. I'm not saying that's impossible, but we just aren't doing it yet. So we cannot change the past. And even if we could, what a mess that would be for living in the moment. You know, your moment would just get jerked away from you. I wouldn't like that. So anyway, we can't change the past. Worrying about the future that hardly ever happens the way we're worrying about it. It's all futile. So it's all about the moment and releasing anything that isn't the moment. Mindfulness is simply about now and this. That's it. Now and this, and all that implies, and all the impact that has. Through its evolution as a spiritual practice and then a therapeutic treatment, there are three components of mindfulness that have come to light that are consistent. First, intention. You cultivate your awareness. That's your intention. Attitude, being kind, curious, and non-judgmental. And third, attitude's third. Attention is second, I'm sorry. Attention. Attention to the present moment, sensations, and thoughts. So those are the three: intention, attention, and attitude. And there are 7 widely recognized principles of mindfulness, which were introduced by Jon Kabat-Zinn, which you probably all heard of because he was the creator of mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR. If you hear anything about behavior or mental health, you'll hear about this, and you'll hear about Jon Kabat-Zinn. And you will notice that every one of these 7 principles align completely with the unity principles. The first one is non-judgment. It's common to hear that we shouldn't judge other people, right? But and there's a good reason for that. You never know what someone else is going through. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what their story is or what their life's like. But what we don't do is give ourselves the same grace. When we have these thoughts, when we're working on mindfulness, the biggest deterrent to learning mindfulness is our criticism of ourselves not doing it right. Like when I interrupt someone else when they're speaking. Really, all I need to do is apologize. That's really all that person wants to know, that they're being noticed and being listened to, and then listen. But for me to then go back inside and beat myself up because, oh, I did it again, that's just useless and bad for my self-esteem and for everything that I am here to do. So we need to spread the grace of non-judgment to ourselves. An important component of mindfulness, by the way, is that we are not our thoughts. Say there's a kid crying next to you on the plane all the way from Phoenix to New York. Oh my gosh, what you might think about the child, the mother. Can't we just put duct tape on his mouth? Whatever. You didn't do it and you're not going to do it. And you don't want anybody else to do it. And if they did, you would just be aghast. It's just a thought. Don't engage with it. Just let it go. It's just a thought. You are not a horrible person. You're just frustrated. You know, we get to show up frustrated. We get to show up however we are. So we need to not judge ourselves. A thought is just a thought. My own life coach frequently says in our conversations, Betty, it's just a thought. And yes, it frequently is just a thought. The second principle of mindfulness is beginner's mind. You know, we as human beings, because we have these amazing minds and amazing imagination. When we don't know the answer, we make it up. We make up a story. You should hear my niece and I were, I don't know if it's good or bad, we're extremely alike. Personality-wise, and When we're talking about someone in the family or something going on, when we don't have the answer to why did they do that? You know, this kind of thing comes up in families probably most often, right? Why did they do that? Well, maybe da-da-da-da-da, or maybe da-da, and then we pick the one we like the best. And then we assume that's right? And then we go on assuming until something comes along to change our minds. That's not what beginner's mind is about. Beginner's mind is about not coming to the situation or the present moment with any baggage or thinking that you know everything or being weighted down by all the stuff that happens before. Beginner's mind is about coming to the situation knowing that you don't know everything. In fact, some philosophers say coming to the situation knowing that you don't know anything. Because I mean, those people really thought the world was flat. It was truth to them. Right?
No.
Until it wasn't. So you don't know, you do not know what you don't know. So just assume you don't know everything and you may not even know what you know, right? So that's beginner's mind. So just be open to whatever's there and whatever you're gonna learn in that moment. That's mindfulness. That's kind of fun, actually. Not to be bogged down with all this other stuff, just come into the moment like a child, just open. Being open and curious can keep you from getting into a rut, by the way, which is what I do with a lot of my coaching, people that get stuck in a rut. The third one is trust. He called it trust, I call it faith. And I believe that faith is the golden key to all that is good about mindfulness. That you have to have faith. Faith, and you do. The point is you actually do have faith. You just have to plug into your faith from this positive perspective. Because if all of your thoughts are negative and you really believe them, then that's your faith. But if your thoughts are positive and you really believe them, that's your faith. So faith is always there. You have faith in something, whether you are thinking that way or not. And so faith gives us the place to start from, to be open to our inner spiritual wisdom and guide in this present moment. It lets us know that it's okay to be open and vulnerable. It's okay to learn new things. It's okay to do different things. Faith says, another thing my coach says, you are completely safe. Go do it. You're safe. Because we have infinite do-overs. The fourth one is non-striving. If you're always reaching for the next thing, it's not always about being happy either. I mean, some of us are just motivated by ego to keep, I mean, you should see me in a video game. Oh my gosh, I mean, one of my ways of relaxing is a computer game. And I don't like the killing ones or anything. I just do the ones where somebody's trying to get to the top of the, you know, with all these giant bugs and things trying to eat them, you know. And it's okay to kill a bug in my world. I'm not, you know, I'm not one of the Eastern religions, so it's okay with me. But, you know, so but leveling up. I love leveling up. I love getting to the end. I love going to the end of the game with 3 stars on every level. I'll go back and play it again to get them. So yes, I get the whole idea of wanting the next thing. But in life, what happens is, you know, you don't particularly have to sit and enjoy a level on a game like that. But in life, you need to celebrate your wins. You need to enjoy what you've done. You need to enjoy all the positiveness you're living in. And you need to sit there for a minute and see all the opportunities that are there that you're missing because you're looking out there somewhere. So non-striving is an important principle in mindfulness. Patience. Patience is a really important principle for mindfulness. I always say never ask spirit for patience. Oh, what a mistake. Because we get plenty of tests about patience in our life without asking for it. Just standing in the line at the grocery store. Being in rush hour traffic, there are so many opportunities to learn patience. Don't ask for it. You have it. You actually have it. Just plug into it. So that is one of the important principles of mindfulness. It isn't possible to predict the future. So while you're sitting there waiting for this thing to happen, that you think is going to happen, I mean, honestly, be honest. How many times does your life work exactly the way you planned it? I mean, even going to the grocery store. I mean, somebody could have an accident right in front of you and you're stuck there for hours, right? I mean, it's happened. It happens. Life does not work the way we planned it. That's kind of a big cosmic joke. You know, it doesn't. So you can't predict the future. Wallowing in the past is not a good idea. Why? Can't change it. And it doesn't do anything for you right now, in the moment. So a little patience that you are going to have what is yours to do in this moment. It may be just sitting there enjoying the peace. Wouldn't that be nice? Sometimes that's all you really need. Mindfulness helps us learn to pay attention and to truly be in the moment, rather than wishing the future would hurry up and get here. The sixth principle is acceptance. Acceptance is a difficult word for somebody because they think it means approval. It doesn't. Acceptance does not mean approval here. Acceptance means that you accept the reality of a situation. You acknowledge what has happened. You don't have to like it, and you can decide to change it, to do something to make life different for you. But first you have to accept this really did happen, because if you don't, this will change your life completely and move you completely out of the flow and out of mindfulness. And you'll know it's just not right. Something's not right here. It's because you're not accepting things the way they really are. The last one is part of that. It's letting go and letting it be. So it's way too easy to fixate on things we don't like. Way too easy. And in this polarized world where every single aspect of our life is polarized, you're either here or there. You can't be in the middle, which I usually am. And so I just live in the moment a lot because I usually am somewhere in the middle. However, the collective makes this very difficult right now for us. It's a challenge for all of us. It doesn't matter where you find yourself. It's hard. But you have to let go of fixating on what you don't like. We really do have to do that to move forward, all of us. You have to be in the present moment and let go of the stress of that fixation on not liking what we don't like. And you know what? Our principle says, what you focus on expands. So the more you sit there hating that thing, the bigger it gets, and only in your inside, which then causes you illness, distress, emotional problems, fear, big time, end of the world kind of fear, when you sit there long enough. So this is why you need to let go, let it be, and do what Myrtle and Charles said, affirm, deny and affirm. Affirm and deny, got that backwards. Affirm that this thing did happen. It's happening. I don't like it, but it has no power over me. It's not me. It's not what I believe. It's not where I live. I frankly don't live where most everybody lives right now. I live somewhere else and I'm perfectly happy to be there. And most days I really am perfectly happy to be there. I mean, honest to goodness, some things happen that I just go, are you kidding? Really? That's okay now? Wow. But you know what? It's not me. And I don't live here. And the only way out is for enough of us to start living in the present moment that we can get something done, that we can do something positive, that we can serve others, that we can find where we agree on things, that we can get out of this ridiculous polarization that is getting none of us anywhere but frustrated. So mindfulness is the key. Faith is the golden key. So now let's delve a little bit more into faith. Faith plays a big part of mindfulness. I believe that there's one spiritual gift that must be present for a person to receive all of these blessings. And that is faith. Faith lowers our expectations. It recognizes unlimited possibilities. It eliminates regret and worry. And we no longer need to worry about the future nor dwell on the past when we have faith, because we are completely safe in faith. And if we choose to have faith about our life, we're free from worrying. God's Spirit has a divine order, and the only way to plug into it is with mindfulness. It's the only way, and it's there. All of those things at our core that we were born with. We are not getting more spiritual. We were born with it all. We're here to remember who we are and what's really there. So by choosing a life of faith, we're ready to co-create. Eric Butterworth, my favorite Unity author and teacher, and so prolific, said, faith does not change the nature of reality. Faith doesn't really change you. It only changes what you think you are. It changes what you appear to be. It doesn't change the reality of you, but it tunes into that reality and it lets it be released. And that's important. When you say that faith enables you to release a tremendous new potentiality or human resource, it doesn't manufacture it from somewhere. It simply allows you to identify with yourself at a higher level. That's what it said. God bless it. So how does this combination of mindfulness and co-creation lead to co-creation? So looking at the third and fourth basic unity principles, we learned that human beings create their experiences by the activity of their thinking, and that prayer and meditation heighten their connection with God and bring forth wisdom, prosperity, healing, and everything good. So that's it. Mindfulness and faith, right? Practicing mindfulness, we're looking for the positive, feeling the good, seeing the possibilities, and receiving the blessings. And I feel like I have to add this one more thing. I know I'm probably running a little over. I wasn't keeping track of the time, but I think we need to acknowledge the place of mindfulness in physical and mental health and aging, because it speaks to our spirit, mind, body connection. Mindfulness-based treatments have been shown, you know, some people don't ever believe this until somewhere they did a study on it, so we have those now. Mindfulness-based treatments have been shown to reduce anxiety and depression. There's also, and I already knew that, didn't you, right? There's also evidence that mindfulness can lower blood pressure and improve sleep, and I might add, correct a rapid heart rhythm. Because I know this from experience. It may even help people cope with pain, of course, I know that too. Dr. Zev Schumann Olivier of Harvard University says, for many chronic illnesses, mindfulness meditation seems to improve quality of life and reduce mental health symptoms such as depression, PTSD, of course, present moment, eating disorders, and addiction. Of course, of course, of course. We can see how mindfulness would answer those kinds of things. So mindfulness addresses lack of attention and focus, worry about the future, anxiety triggered by collective thought and fear of the unknown, giving in to regret and low self-esteem, and quitting when there's still stuff to do. So in almost every talk or class or workshop I do, I say at some point, as long as you're here, you've got stuff to do. And the best way to find out what that stuff is to practice mindfulness. And then it also gives you all the ideas on how to do it. So try mindfulness. And I'm going to give you, poor Lisa's over here ready for my meditation, and I just keep talking. But thank you for being ready. So I'm almost done. So I hate to tell somebody all this, just do it, like just do it. Well, I have some ideas on how you can do it, okay? How you can get into mindfulness if you're not already practicing it. So becoming more mindful does require practice. It's not gonna, it may take you weeks or months or a year, but the process is wonderful. And so it doesn't matter how long it takes you to feel like, oh, I think I'm really getting this. Because frankly, I'm getting it, but I would really like to be I'd like to be able to do this for 30 minutes at a time. The most I can do right now is 10. I started at 1 and 2 though, so that's good, right? So I bet this is my biggest tip. Take some deep breaths. That will bring you back to the present moment faster than anything. I tell everybody this. I tell my niece this. I tell my grandniece this. I sent them, they must just think, oh, Aunt Betty's at it again. I sent them a little video on how to do deep breathing when you're all friends. It's just crazy. But I think they liked it. So, but anyway, whenever you find yourself in one of those crazy loops, those monkey mind loops, where I'm telling you, everyday stuff can just drive me nuts. Like I recently switched out fixtures in my kitchen. It took weeks to get it done because people wouldn't keep appointments. It was insane. It was like, this is such a simple thing. What the heck is going on? Breathing. I just finally went, you just have to breathe, take some rest. It's going to be okay. What if you wake up tomorrow and it's just all done, right? So, and that's exactly how it happened. So, by the way, that's how it worked. So take some deep breaths. Breathe in. I like to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. After about 3 of those, you're back in the moment. That's all it takes. You can actually do it in 1 if you're kind of in a hurry. But if you're not in a hurry and you can take 3 deep breaths, do it because it will take you there where you need to be. Enjoy a walk. I know it's hot. It's hot almost everywhere now. It's really hot where I live. And I think it's probably about 10 degrees cooler here, but still that's kind of hot now. For you guys, it must feel like it feels for me down there. And so midday, forget it. But early in the morning before the sun's hitting you directly, it's pretty nice. Go out, observe what's happening out there with your senses. See everything in a new light. Beginner's mind, remember? Hear everything, even the cars. I happen to be able to hear a train whistle from where I live. Just things you don't usually listen to. People yelling at each other, birds, insects, smell. There aren't a lot of flowers now. They've all burned up, but they were beautiful though. I had a beautiful spring, but anyway, the green things, we still have some green things. They have their own smell. A little bit of water can have a delightful smell right now. So there are, all the senses, sounds, vision, any of your senses. The practice, speaking of taste, I was thinking, I'm not probably going to try to taste anything out there on my walk, but mindful eating is wonderful practice for mindfulness because it has all the things in it. It looks great, it or doesn't. It has a taste, it has a smell. You can think about who fixed it for you. You can think about where it was grown. You can think about how it was harvested. There's so many ways to visit your food experience. You can be grateful that you have food. Do you know how many people don't have food right now? It's a lot. So eating. Doing a body scan is a great way. Just going through your body. We're actually going to do this in a minute. We're going to have a mindful meditation and do this. Going through your body and noticing what's going on in your body. It's a great way, any activity, taking a shower, getting ready for work, washing the dishes, that you pay attention to every move and how things change in the process. And then for mindfulness resources, just go online, they're everywhere. I happen to use Headspace. I love it. It's on my phone and my computer, and I've been using it for several years. It has a lot of mindfulness. It was founded by an ex-Buddhist monk, very well versed in the meditation practice, and I love it. I'm not getting anything from telling you this. There are lots of them, lots of things on the online. You can find one that will work for you. So those are mindfulness resources. So the magic of mindfulness is that it moves us forever forward. That's the magic of mindfulness in a positive way, from present moment to present moment, without regretting the past or worried about the future. It helps us to focus on our blessings and learn gratitude, to accept what is and change what matters, to give and receive grace, and to take our next perfect spiritual step into the next mindful moment. And should you find a monkey mind out there wandering off, all you have to do is take a deep breath, focus on that deep breath, and return to the present moment. So, mindfulness, give it a try. You'll like it. It's magic. Thank you. Well, thank you for your patience. I know that was a little bit long for a Sunday lesson, but this is so important. This is like a life changer. So what I want to do now for our meditation today is actually go through a guided mindfulness meditation. So what I want you to do first, I want you to plant yourself in some guidance, some meditation teacher say in a respectful position, whatever that is. And feel your feet planted on the floor and grounded. I want you to focus on an object in the room. It can be anything, but one that's not going to move. So it probably shouldn't be a person, but it can be something you're wearing. It could be a watch or a ring. It could be a piece of furniture. Just focus on anything. It could be something. I see a piece of fuzz on the floor. It could be anything like that that's not going to move. Just focus on that and then spread your vision to what we call a soft focus, which is letting your peripheral vision be kind of there, but not homing in on it, just on that one thing. And while you're looking at that one thing, I want you to start taking some deep breaths. And I'd like you to breathe in through the nose and then slowly out through the mouth, more like blowing a whistle, very slowly, letting out every bit of air before you stop. And do that about 3 times. But now on your next exhale, I want you to close your eyes if you haven't already. And I want you to listen. Listen for sounds. First, the sounds farthest away that you can hear. Could be anything. Now listen to sounds that are closer. Now I want you to feel the pressure of your body wherever it's touching something. If your feet touching the floor, you're touching the seat of your chair, or the back of your chair, feeling your hands on your legs or in your lap. Feel that pressure. And if you haven't done so, I want you to return to regular breathing. Just normal, not any particular way. Just continue to breathe regularly. And notice what that's like. And now I want you to scan your body, and let's start with your feet. Notice if there's any burning or pain or stress in your feet. Notice if they're totally relaxed. They feel good. Notice your ankles. Notice your lower legs. All the time, when you're in a part of the body, noticing if there's any stress or strain or pain. As you move up your body, noticing your knees. Now your upper legs and your hips. Identifying any places of stress or discomfort in any way. And continuing to breathe in and out and noticing your breath. And come back to the breath for a little bit. And then scan your back. How does it feel? Is there any stress there? Any tightness? In your chest. Now your shoulders. And your neck. And your upper arms. And your lower arms. Now your hands and fingers. Now notice the back of your head, your face, and your scalp. And now come back to your breathing and take your breathing to your heart. Now I want you to imagine that you're actually breathing from your heart. And from this place of a breathing heart, I want you to feel this present moment. Breathing in and out from your heart, breathing in peace and exhaling love. And breathing in peace and exhaling love. And as you breathe in and out peace and love, the love fills the room and everyone in it. And then it fills the building. And you continue to breathe from your heart, in and out, peace and love. And it fills all of Cottonwood. And then all of Arizona. And then all of the United States. And all of the world, until your heart is opened so far that the love fills the universe. And you live in this moment of peace and love in the universe. And so it is. Amen.